Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Campus Dialogues, a Muslim Views production in affiliation with Muslim Fin. Muslim Fin, your roadmap to Islamic banking and finance. I'm your host Ali Sali, and here to introduce our guest this evening is my good friend and colleague Siraj Buzik. Siraj.
Assalamu alaikum, Ali.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, always good to be back with you.
It's always good to be back in studio. And like I said, another week, another podcast.
That's right.
And to our viewers, welcome back. You know, this is a show where we dive deep into the minds of change makers, creatives, and curious thinkers shaping the way we live, work, and grow. And today's guest is someone who defies the traditional labels. He's a business strategist, certified adventure guide, and what he calls a free-range human. Shamir Cruiser has spent over 14 years navigating the complexities of digital transformation while also guiding people through natural beauty and untold stories of Cape Town's mountain trails. From enterprise software to solo tricks, Shamir is on a mission to help people with businesses realign with their purpose, blending the analytical with the soulful, the structured with the spontaneous. We'll be talking about what it means to build a purpose-led life, how to escape the good idea trap in entrepreneurship, and why your next strategic breakthrough might be waiting at the top of a mountain. So whether you're building a side hustle, navigating a career pivot, or just craving clarity, this conversation is for you. Shamir, welcome to our podcast.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Shukran for welcoming me, Siraj. And Ali, it's a pleasure to be here. An honor, really. And what can I say? What an introduction.
They're taking away all the titles and certification. I think as a starting point, who is Shamir Cruiser?
Shamir Cruiser is, deep down, Shamir is a very free-spirited soul.
Okay.
Yeah, very free-spirited soul, an internal rebel, a spontaneous flame that never goes out, and that is Shamir. If you know, in the essence of Shamir, a person that's always, his cup is always half full, and someone that always looks, you know, there's a very cliche brighter side of life, but the brighter side of life is really a way of living and a way of looking at life in a way to really inspire yourself, and that is what Shamir is about.
Absolutely, that's great. And you know, I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to live like that.
Yeah.
Wants us to see the glass half full, right? And that's how you living your life. And that's why we have you here on the show, to inspire our audience. You know, so Shamir, but tell us a bit more about your past, about your history. How did you get to discovering the concept of the free-range human? I mean, just the concept itself is very interesting in just listening to it or hearing it, you know, being spoken. But maybe just tell us first a bit about your history and then get into the concept of the free-range human.
The history of the free-range human, or the history of Shamir, first of all, it really started out of, if there was a very vivid moment in my career, or at least my upbringing was in school, it was in matric. Everybody, it was the matriculation valedictory, and everybody's like, you know, planning their parties and planning their you know, the happy hour. And I remember very specifically, we all arranged to go to Tokai Forest, and everybody was in a like hook up there, but nobody thought about the food. And it's interesting because we were all like, okay, we're going to get there, we're going to meet up there, we're going to explore and just have fun and hook up, and our last fun time together. But like, where's the food coming from? And I said, okay, cool, let's get boerewors rolls and let's all bring something. But like, yeah, but who's going to do all of that? I was like, you know what? I'll braai. I'll bring the boerewors rolls. $60. You get your boerewors roll and you get your bashoes. You get 2 boerewors rolls and you get 2 bashoes. You know? And that was just a moment of reflection, a moment of opportunity. And I actually made my first, I think, $600, $700 from just an opportunity and just the belief that, you know what, if there's a need, follow the need, provide the opportunity, And without any form of qualification, without any form of thinking, I made my first profit as a businessman. And I think from that moment, it's always stuck with me throughout my whole career, that you do not need to box your life and find value in a document that documents your qualifications and what you're capable of doing and achieving. And I've always but I eventually got in the system, got married, got a home, followed the curriculum, the standard curriculum of life. But that moment stuck with me throughout my career, and I always knew that life doesn't have to be this way. That moment was a defining moment for me to say that I can actually earn a living in a way that can still be true to myself and my spirit and my rebellious, spontaneous, adventurous me. And I've always believed that everybody has that in them. It's just a matter of how deep do they bury that spirit, and how much light is still there to uncover as life happens. You find your soulmate, you get married, you have kids, you build a home, you get in debt, you get the car, you get comfortable, and all of that is like burying and burying and burying that free range spirit inside of you. And mine wasn't very deep enough. And the concept of the free range human came about. I mean, throughout my whole career, that was there. And I always knew that I'm going to break free someday. It's just a matter of how much do I ignore this free range human spirit inside of me. And for the last, I think, 10 years is where I really started the awakening of this free range spirit inside of me. And that started with journaling. And that came about very much by accident, really. There was no intentional journaling that took place. It was just after Fajr, I used to wake up earlier than usual. When I started to do my adventure guiding, I used to do sunrise hikes, and that forced me to wake up earlier, and sleep and go to bed earlier. And I found myself waking up earlier, and it became a routine. And then like Fajr became late in winter, like now, but I'll be waking up at 4. And I'll find myself like really asking those deeper why questions, man. Like, why must I be in, this? Why must I be sitting in traffic? Why, I was sitting doing spreadsheet work and reports and sitting in the boardrooms and the stand-ups. It's just like, it just got to me more and more the more I thought about it, man. And the more I thought about it, the more I started to write about it. But a lot of other elements of my life and dynamics of my life was changing at the same time, My family was growing, my kids. But during that, there was a shift happening that I wasn't growing in my career. I wasn't elevating to a point where I felt challenged, because I was very comfortable, earning a nice salary, got a nice home, and it all just felt comfortable. It all just felt like, is that it? It's like, what more? So that was from a growth, from a personal development perspective, but also from a spiritual perspective. It's like I wanted this. I mean, we grew up with the decree and the knowing and the belief system, our creed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written our rizq for us, and our rizq will reach us before our death reaches us. But throughout my whole life of earning a 30-day payment cycle salary, I believed it, but how much did I believe it? When it came to 24th, it's like, okay, I know that it's coming, and the medium, the medium of abundance was employment. But that was always like a filter to the actual, where is the source? It was always through a conduit. And I believe that you can only achieve a certain state of, or elevate your certainty into, and that's your tawakkul, is if you really now let go and cut and untether yourself from that 30-day cycle, and not discrediting that form of rizq. It's just a point in your life when I reached my 35s, in my 40s, like I wanted to feel more. I wanted to get closer, and combining with that nearness that I wanted to draw towards my Creator, there was also this uneasiness in my working life, that I wasn't pursuing something that was meaningful to me. So it was almost like converging, like there was a convergence of unfulfillment, no impact in my work, no meaning, and this callingness of come to me, come closer, man. To do, but you can only do that if you jump off, if you let go of the knowns and you step into the unknown.
Yeah, stepping into the unknown, and what I'm hearing you saying, Shamir, is that you're saying that you have to have that yaqeen, and you have to have that belief, and not put your belief in people or in things, right? And what's interesting about what you said was, you talked about family and children, but as you know, this podcast is, our business is known as Muslim Fin, and one of the things that you mentioned was debt, right? And so you find yourself sitting there doing those reports, and you are in these meetings, and you're in a place where you don't necessarily want to be, but you ask yourself, why am I here? Why am I doing these things? And why am I not doing more in terms of, the adventure type of tourism that you're doing now? Why am I not doing the things that I love? It's because I potentially have this debt, and that's a lot of people out there. That's a lot of our audience. They have this debt that's hanging over them, right? And so they're forced to be there doing those reports, doing all of these things. And it sounds like, one of the interesting things that you said to break free from that 30-day cycle, right? That 30-day cycle, that salary, right? And to break free from that, to unplug from that. So I find that very profound. We hear what you're saying. So now you're doing the adventure tourism. You're waking up early in the morning. You're going out hiking before Fajr. Alhamdulillah. How's that going?
Well, it's really been amazing. It's one of my free-range lifestyle businesses. I've always been into nature. I've always been an outdoor person from young, in the mountains, in the ocean. And I mean, while in my corporate life and in my corporate career, I've always promised myself. I mean, people that know me very well, they know me as the adventurous guy, in the social setting, the guy who plans a mountain excursion, the guy who goes, going surfing excursions. And I've always known that I'm going to pursue a life where I actually can get paid for doing this, for doing what I love. And it's always been a dream of mine, and I just pursued it. That what you mentioned, Ali, is that this is a responsible pivot in one's life. It's not about letting go and living a free life without the responsibilities and what you need to, the obligations you have, But at the same time, it's doing it in a way that is like, you need to ensure that you cover what you need to cover, but designing an intentional life and work that can cover that means. So it's not about I've got debt. I was going through a phase in my transition, like, okay, how am I going to do this responsibly? How can I live and work in a meaningful way, but still cover my obligations, my financial obligations? And that is a transition. It's not one day waking. I lived the free range lifestyle in my mind 5 years prior to me leaving my work. You need to embody that. Because reality is created twice. They created in the mind, and then they created in physical reality. So like I'm saying, I was embodying the free range spirit 3, 4, 5 years prior, doing my adventure guiding before work, 3 hours on the mountain, starting at 8 o'clock and having a stand-up. Then at 4 o'clock, when I clock off, I'll do a sunset hike as well with guests. I'll put myself on the platforms. Then, at the same time, I'll be helping other digital entrepreneurs, because that's also at my business. That's what I specialize in. So I was helping other aspiring entrepreneurs build their digital infrastructures while I was working. But I got so much more fulfillment from that. I've got so much more meaning. It was so much more impactful to distill my corporate knowledge and expertise and everything that I've learned on a human level felt so real and true. And instead of doing all this work for corporations that you have no idea who they're supporting and what causes they're doing in the world. Financial institutions I work for, it's crazy doing this. And I thought, why? Why can't I distill? And this is where most people kind of get stuck. It's like, I'm a lawyer, I'm a financial expert, whatever their profession. How do I take that and distill it onto a human level where I'm actually impacting somebody in a way that's providing for them and making them a better person? And then I think that's kind of the transition that one needs to make from a responsible financial point of view, but also from an impact and a meaning point of view.
Shamir, that's very interesting. Just listening to you, I can think of two situations where people could find themselves in. I would think of a situation where people are trying to unplug themselves from, it's called the matrix, this traditional lifestyle of a 8-to-5 job, chasing the same thing every single day. And then there's those people who are comfortable with the jobs. They find some enjoyment in the jobs, but they perhaps struggle with that work-life balance, having a family and other responsibilities. What's your advice to those people?
Look, really, I run a program. The project that I run is the transformation that I went through. It's the baptism of fire that I had to go through. And what I found to be extremely crucial to this type of journey is the self-awareness, man. Being self-aware and mindful of your own capabilities, your own value, your own self-worth. Because through decades, generations, many of the traditional capitalist employment system has made us to believe that our self-worth and our value is on a document. And that's it. With a title and a CV. And once you unravel that and crack that code, you literally empowering yourself on such a level that the possibilities of what you are capable of is limitless to what you want it to be. And with that self-awareness, there's a series of steps and sequences and tasks that you go through. One of it is journaling. So my clients that work with me, it is absolutely a critical tool to have a journal. Because with journaling, with writing down, Allah created the pen, the column first. Whatever was scribed became a reality. And this is the purpose of journaling. What I found to be so powerful is to journal whatever comes to your mind, whatever the version of you that you see and the version of you that you don't want. You write that down because it slowly will manifest itself because you bring it to the surface. And just coming back to your question, what is the solution for those that really want to unplug? Before you even unplug, you need to understand your power, your essence, your intrinsic value that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you with, because every single one of us has that natural disposition or our fitra that Allah has imbued us with to make an impact into the world. To serve someone and something with your unique set of talent, skills, your life's journey is the exact blueprint of how you can help somebody else. Then, once you discover that, then you unplug because you know what you're capable of and you know what your purpose is going to be. Short time, long time, medium, whatever that may be. That is how you actually find the confidence to unplug. Because it's just not about unplugging. It's about finding purpose before you unplug. It's not about just escaping. This is the perception I get a lot from my followers that's following me. They want to understand. They want to get away. They want to just escape this corporate system, this 9 to 5. And I get it. I was there, but that's not gonna solve your problem of living a true, meaningful, spiritually aligned and sustainable free range life.
You know, Shamir, I'm listening to you, and the things that you're saying, resonates with me because, I listen to a lot of people like, for example, I'm not sure if you've heard of Bob Proctor. He's passed away now. But a lot of these guys also encourage, and you mentioned the pen, Allah first created the pen, the column. But if you think of the terms or the word spell, right? SPLL, spell. So some people will say, okay, because you're spelling a word, but spell actually also refers to magic. So spell. So when you write something, that spell that by spelling out that word, you are actually creating something that is now manifesting, like you said, because you're putting it down on paper. And absolutely 100% I agree with you. Some people will say maybe something easier than that is just to say, okay, well, to have 10 goals within the next 12 months and then just start writing it down and then start journaling it. And it may change, but do it every day.
Absolutely.
And have that where you write that every day. And something actually that I practice myself.
Yeah.
So 100% what you're saying resonates with me. What are some of the other tips that you may have? I know that you have this full program for people that are looking to, find themselves, find their purpose, really connect and serve our community, our country, maybe the world. What are some of the other tips that you maybe, to give us a bit of a taste of what it's like to maybe sit in one of your courses or to be part of one of your programs? Yeah?
I think in terms of tips, and there's a couple. I think in terms of wanting to transform yourself and wanting to really, because in order for you to really make an impact on someone, and to provide the value to someone, you need to provide the value to yourself, man. You need to find that inner source of power, and I would almost say certainty that you are worthy of offering value to the world, man. You can't, and I think this is such a core part of this of a human, man, to serve others, man. You've got to know within yourself that you are so valuable that without you this world would not operate, man. To such an extent, because that's exactly the truth, man. Allah will not put you on this dunya if you don't have a purpose. Because I firmly believe that we, as Allah says in the Quran, we are a test for each other. So we are just really pieces of this beautiful puzzle and mystic story of billions and thousands, millions of cause and effects, that if without you, Ali, or Shiraz, none of this would have happened. The people that we are impacting now would not have happened. And once you uncover that, that's my biggest tip. Once you uncover that, then the path of you bringing forth that lifestyle business or lifestyle impact that you want to make in a sustainable way will be easy for you.
Shamila, that's beautiful. I got a question for you, and it's regarding entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And many early stage entrepreneurs, they get stuck in side hustles. Right?
Yeah.
And in one of your recent LinkedIn posts, you shared that most side hustles don't struggle with ideas. They struggle with making income sustainable and scalable.
Yeah.
How should they pivot from passion to scale?
It's a very, very good question. And the thing about side hustles and why most, entrepreneurs get stuck in that, where it's just kind of, the side hustle is moving, but is not generating really any form of profitable return on investment. Because ultimately, the product or service is there to turn quickly. It's not a sustainable approach to the business or to their side hustle. And
The reason why I ask is that we've seen a lot of these fly-by-nights and opportunities that come by, and like telling people that you can become rich overnight.
Yeah.
Like these forex trading that we see, these what do you call it, this bitcoins and all of these.
Yes.
And people are falling for it, they're getting into it,
Yeah.
and they're investing in it only to find out, like you said, it's not really sustainable over a long-term period. So and that's why, please proceed. I actually just cut you off.
No, that's
from what
fine.
you were
And I
saying.
was just, thank you for just clearing it up, at least just to align the question and answer. Two things. Number one is the purpose and the value. So there needs to be real purpose behind that business or service offering or product. And when I say purpose, what impact is it making on someone else's life, man? All right? And this is why also this get rich quick scheme. I mean, those are all mediums to actually make you wealthy and to make money. But at the end of the day, that's all that it is, man. And it's empty, And I believe people, as much as they want to have a lot of money and to live comfortably, at the end of the day, that's really not going to make them happy. And this is why they're always chasing and wanting more. And what's the next hustle? What's the next best thing to turn quickly? So that's the one reason why I believe that side hustles, fly-by-nights, is just exactly that. There's no sustainability is built and rooted in core purpose and positive impact that you make on someone else's life on a human level. And the other element is the technical element, the systems and automations that you and the business processes you put in place. For side hustles, that from an entrepreneur perspective, that doesn't really get the scale and to grow it. They might have a good product, they might have a good service, a good value proposition, and they're serving a small kind of, the audience, but to actually get to the next level, they don't have the discipline, the system, the processes to actually put it in place and to streamline the process to deliver the value that they have.
I want to come back to that free range human mindset in the online business. I know that you host these mini webinars and the 30-minute presentations on free range human mindset.
Yes.
What are the core shifts listeners can expect from these webinars?
So there are three. All right. The one core shift is I don't believe, and I'm an entrepreneur. And I think that is such a common stigma attached to people or entrepreneurs that want to, or individuals, aspiring individuals that want to take their ownership of their own life and financial independence. They think that being an entrepreneur is this risk guy or person that's blindly going into the world, or even by necessity, by circumstances. And what I'm reframing in my 30-minute webinar is that the one shift is entrepreneurship is just a title. Really, entrepreneurship is about taking control of your freedom, taking control of your financial independence and autonomy, and taking control of your future. That is what real entrepreneurship is. It's just a reframing. The title has obviously been really barraged over the centuries, and even up until the modern time, and now it's called hustling. We're still working, but like a hustler. Even a hustle for me is even more stigmatized because now a hustle's like your hustler. The word hustler or hustler came from the streets in New York. Yeah. So that's the one shift. The other shift is I don't have time to start. I'm too old. I'm too late. I mean, oh my word, my daughter's making more. They're making more money. They are like on social media, and this is also a complete reframing that I want, that I actually try to break, because your timing is divine, man. I wrote a blog called the season of 40s, where between 35 and 45 you get this internal inspiration, and I call it wahi, because I believe everybody receives their own wahi. you know. And whatever that wahi means to you, it's your divine calling to follow a certain path that you can't explain it. But you know that it's magnetizing you towards something, and it's magnetizing you towards goodness, but you've got this other life that you need to sacrifice to let go.
Some people out there will call it a midlife crisis.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I termed it into. I termed it in my blog. You can actually, it's what the West call the midlife crisis, where you can actually go one of two ways. You can either you can either ignore this internal wahi, this internal inspiration, and continue to bury this internal wisdom that's coming from the source, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the creator, coming from the source. You can either ignore it and bury yourself with more wealth, more money, more cars, more houses, more whatever, or you follow this wahi and you say it's leading me towards goodness. So where the point I'm coming from is that this timing, this feeling of you've had enough. You are tired of this grind, this rat racing. Where is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? So you got this thing like, oh, all these people are starting their own, the social, you're being fed this lifestyle, but like you're thinking now, when am I going to live this lifestyle? At the age of 65? When I get my retirement? Or can I actually start now? Yeah, but I'm too old and what? No, you're not. You are exactly where you need to be. And you need to believe that. You are going to, whatever's going to come from you, whatever you're going to uncover once you do the deep work, you're going to find that secret, I call it the free range power zone, where you find that convergence of what you're good at, what you love to do, the impact that you want to make in the world, the needs of your target audience or the needs of the person that you want to serve, right? And your life's journey. All the good, the bad, and the ugly that went through, that got you to where you are now at the age of 40, through all the trials and tribulations, that gives you the right, combined with your expertise, combined with your passion, and combined with the meaning and impact that you want to make. You combine all of that, and you're like, wow, this is my calling. This is my next phase in my life. To follow this path and to serve with meaning, purpose, and impact, and take what Allah has given me throughout my whole life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and serve someone with it.
Shamir, I'm listening to you speak with so much passion, and it's really motivating. And one of the things that I've heard you say now is you talked about, that person that's between the ages of 35 and 45 receiving that wahi, right? And their own form of wahi, right? And now they're going through, Siraj referred to it as the West refers to it as a midlife crisis. Now they're going through this and they are trying to find their way, and you help guide these people, right? But what we're finding out there now is a lot of younger people are also starting to realize that, this traditional education system that I've been going through is preparing me for the 9 to 5. And is that really what I want? Because you find the youngsters now, they come in, they walk into a large building, a financial institution, and they say, these people are sitting in cubicles the whole day. I can't see myself doing that. I want to be a free-range human. I want to be out in the mountains. I want to be out in the ocean. I want to be surfing. I want to be, I want to live my life. I want to travel. Yeah. You know what I mean? The new thing is now, with people living abroad. What's the concept? The concept of living abroad and digital nomads.
Digital nomads, yeah.
Digital nomads, right? That's the thing now, and that's the next generation. That's what they want to do.
Absolutely.
They want to have a laptop and really be able to work from anywhere. So, what do you say to the youth? Those kids now coming out of high school, saying, what? Do I really want to follow this traditional system? Go through 4 years or 6 years or 8 years or 10 years of university? And, go and put myself into debt, have that house, have that family, and then, I get to 35 and then I realize that, this is not something I want to do. Yeah. What do you say to the
You know what, Ali, that narrative is already changed. The kids today, even before they actually leave school, before they matriculate, they know exactly what they don't want. You know, because I just had the same discussion with my physio this morning, and we were chatting about the kids and you asked me the same question, this free range life, and how is my kids kind of understanding this concept. And I said to him, we reflected, and the point that we made is that our kids is being exposed through social media about another way of living and earning and working. They're already being taught that you actually don't need to be in an office to have your name on a piece of paper, on a CV, with a title on it, to actually earn something, to earn a living. So they're already being empowered. I think for kids that's going out into the big world and matriculating, I think from the very start they need to give themselves, they need to back themselves to really go out there into the world and take all the technology that's at their disposal, specifically AI, which is completely changing every sphere of how work is being done. And take the technology available and really pursue a career that's going to make an impact on other people. And I think, but at the same time, technology and social media is also robbing our youth from cognitive abilities and the capacity to build a resilient mindset, man. So it's twofold, you know. But my biggest advice to them is to really take ownership of their agency, of their mindset, man. You know, to really empower themselves from a vision perspective, to see whatever they want to achieve is absolutely possible without the mediums and the vehicles of traditional education. Because even education is completely transformed on its head through technology. Udemy, online courses, YouTube is the new school, is the new education. They're being empowered, you know? And I think from a school perspective, from an old traditional schooling perspective, the only thing that I really still appreciate is discipline, social cohesion, respect, right? And just resilience, just to get through life that's not, because life is not perfect, man. You got to put throughout your whole journey. I'm never discrediting corporate employment. I'm never discrediting any of the institutions that you work for, because you need to go through some form of institution, whether it's a one-man ulam, a one-man maulana that you're living in a desert with and you're growing up with. That's an institution. Or madrasa, it's an institution. You know? So going through the institutions, it's critical to learn and appreciate, like I said, discipline, respect, social cohesion. Growing up and being learned in a structured form, that's important. But that's the only kind of benefit I still hold within the schooling system. Further than that, really, standard 7, standard 8, or grade 10, 11, 12. So it's very old school. Really, our kids are exposed. Their minds are way more advanced 100%. Than us, you know, just from a what's possible perspective.
I could sit back and listen to you for another hour or two. And on that point, I'm going to probably ask you, you know, to come back again, inshallah, for part 2 for the podcast. It's been a very interesting discussion. And to be honest with you, we haven't gotten through most of our questions that we wanted to ask you. So inshallah, when you're back, we're going to, you know, speak a little bit more about entrepreneurship, great idea myth, and some of those things. But before we go, I just want to do a quick lightning round, as you can say, just a couple of quick questions before we close off. What's your go-to mindset hack when you're facing a steep climb in the mountains or in business?
One step at a time. Go as fast as you can, slow as you can cope.
Okay, cool. Favorite mountain route around Cape Town and why?
Favorite mountain route would definitely be Kastelpoort. The reason is because it starts in the shade and we get the whole 12 Apostles views as well as the Atlantic Ocean. So I always prefer that route.
One book or resource you think every free-range human should read?
Wow, it's a difficult one, Shiraz. There's so much, there's so many. But the one that really impacted me the most, I've got a couple, but I think the one that really impacted me the most is it's a spiritual read. It's called The Power of Now.
The Power of Now.
Power of Now by
Eckhart
Tolle.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Shami, Jazakallah shukran so much. What I really loved about the discussion and about everything you spoke to, there was always an element of taqwa, element of God consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, yaqeen and where does it come from? That is beautiful. But again, like I said, we'll have you on for part 2. It was a very interesting discussion. Jazakallah for your time. And viewers, there you go. Another great podcast with the Campus Dialogue. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and repost and share with your friends and family. And inshallah, we'll see you next week for another podcast. Jazakallah khair. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.